Hi, everyone. This is week 10, part 2, the second video for week 10. And I just want to point out to you that today's video is going to be a little more slowly paced than the one from yesterday. I was trying to cram a lot of information into just as little time as possible. So when I reviewed the video, yeah, it looked kind of hectic, kind of rushed. So today we'll just move at a calmer pace. Okay, so you know you have your second exam coming up on Thursday, and it's exam two. It's going to cover everything from weeks 6, 7, 8, and 9 on the syllabus. Um, Obviously, some things are more important than other things. There'll be more questions from Oedipus than from Sappho, more questions from Oedipus than Plato, more questions about Beowulf than Petrarch. So focus your studies on those aspects of the course which seem to be more important. Now, I just got a chance, we'll be using Honor Lock on this test once again, and I just now got a chance to go back and look, and most people didn't have any trouble at all. For those of you who did, let me just remind you, and the best way I can explain this is Honor Lock is an AI, and it catches a lot more than you may realize. My best advice is just pretend like you're sitting in the classroom with the professor at the front of the room watching you as you take your test. One thing you don't want to do is to read the questions out loud. In fact, Honor Lock likes a really quiet testing environment, so you don't want noise going on, you don't want conversation going on, you don't want to be talking to yourself or reading anything off the screen. Keep your eyes focused on the screen. It does track eye movement. You don't have to have your vision just solely locked in a little 1 inch square, but you also don't want to be glancing off to the side constantly, either through head movement or eye movement. So be sure your camera placement is good. Be sure your microphone is on. Just kind of go through the list. I want to take a moment and encourage you to pull out your syllabus and go to page 4 because there's a list of consequences for violation of exam conduct. We're going to kind of consider that first exam as a trial run, and no one's going to lose any points. But after the first one, starting with the one on Thursday, if you have an excessive number of red flags, you're going to lose some points. Depending on what the red flags are for, you could lose 30 points. 30%. Well, it is 30 points. 30 points for a couple things, 50 points for some, and for some of the things here, you could make a 0 on the test. So take the test honestly, like you're sitting in the classroom. If you're uncomfortable with this, I don't blame you. I would be too. You're always welcome to come in and take the test, pencil and paper, during office hours, which you have listed on the top of page 1 of your syllabus. Just schedule an appointment and let me know. I'll be happy to print off a copy of the test, and you can take it in here with me, or actually send it in the room next door. But yeah, I want you to do well. There are 50 questions. They're all multiple choice, although I threw in a few true false. But most of them are multiple choice, and they're worth 2 points apiece. The test is worth 100 points. And that's this Thursday. On Sunday, you're going to be turning in your second response paper. Be sure to go back and look at the comments from your first response paper. You don't want to be making the same mistakes over and over again. The most common mistake was you guys are trying to cover too much material. You're too broad. You're too vague. You want to focus in on one specific aspect of the assignment. And you know what? I've forgotten what the assignment was now. The Parable of the Cave, or Oedipus Rex, or Beowulf. So just pick one particular thing, like one particular event that happened to one character, or one particular quote, or one thing, and react to it. Now, of course, your reactions, as you explore your reactions, your feelings, your responses, those are going to vary. The first time you read about Beowulf's death, maybe you felt sad. Then, upon rereading the poem, you realized, well, his death was necessary, or his death was not unexpected. So maybe your feelings have shifted. Feel free to explore those. I do encourage and used to require, but we're not doing that this semester. I used to require a rough draft. Rough drafts are very helpful when you're exploring your feelings. When you're trying to put down your feelings on paper, it's very helpful to sit down and have just a blank sheet of paper. Maybe you're dictating, but you just dictate into Microsoft Word and kind of get a bunch of your feelings out on paper. Then you can go back and look at grouping ideas together, which becomes a paragraph, figuring out the main idea of that paragraph, which becomes a topic sentence, looking at your topic sentences, seeing what those things have in common, that becomes your thesis, which is the main idea for the entire paper. Please remember, your thesis has got to be the last sentence of the introduction. The introduction needs to be short, 3 or 4 sentences at the most. The conclusion should be even shorter than that. And of course, in the conclusion, no new ideas. Just sum up, restate, rename, but no new ideas. Of course, you want to proofread carefully. You want to follow the formatting guidelines. And yeah, on the first paper, I asked you not to use first person point of view. On this one, I said you could, but don't go overboard. Please don't start every sentence with, well, I think, well, I believe, well, it's my opinion that. No, a lot of that you can write in third person and still have it be your opinion, your feelings, your response, just without those little adverbial clauses. It's better to explain something more than once than to explain it too briefly. Shakespeare says that brevity is the soul of wit, but clear explanation is the heartbeat of academic writing. So you really want to explain it carefully. Now, of course, you don't want to use AI in any form, and that includes you don't want to use Grammarly or Quillbot or anything that's going to even like help you with your grammar or just like a writing assistance tool or anything like that, because those will pop up and they get detected. So yeah, we have a really, really good AI detector. So just, write your own paper. It's a couple pages. You should have no problems. Just be sure that you're clear on the reading assignment. One thing that could cost you some serious points on your paper is factual errors. In your paper, if you tell me in Oedipus the King, well, when Oedipus kills his wife, then something, something, something. Well, Oedipus never kills his wife. So be careful that you get the facts straight. Misstatement of facts can seriously undermine your argument, this is not really an argument, but it's a persuasive paper in that you're trying to persuade me that your feelings are genuine. Speaking of which, I got into a discussion with a student last semester. I said, well, this is just not right. And he said, well, that's my feelings. I'm like, well, that's great, but your feelings have to be based on the reading assignment. You can't just pull stuff out of thin air and say, this is why I feel the way I do. So read the assignment carefully. Read whichever one of those you're going to focus on, Parable of the Cave, Oedipus the King, Beowulf. Read it carefully. Decide what you want to focus on, reread that part again carefully, and you're welcome to do research about this. If you want to look up something about Beowulf, you can. Just don't quote it in the paper. Don't put it in the paper, because this is not a research paper. It's not a research class. I want to know what you think and what you feel. But if you need something better explained, you're welcome to email me. I'll be happy to help, or you can just ask, do a Google search and say, what's the deal with the swimming contest in Beowulf? But just use that to help you understand it better, so that you have a clear response to the event, not as part of your paper that you're going to submit to me. I also wanted to take a moment and kind of remind you, we went hurriedly through the Middle Ages. And I know I pointed this out, but I want to kind of re-emphasize it. This was written close to the end of the Middle Ages. which we don't even call it that anymore. It used to be called the Dark Ages because of a lack of learning, a lack of education, a lack of writing. There aren't a lot of people doing a lot of writing. Now, you do have some exceptions to that, like Sir Gawain and Geoffrey Chaucer and Dante. These are all guys who are writing, but these are few and far between, and they're spread out geographically and chronologically. So there's just not a whole lot going on. Now you're thinking, well, we've got a diamond in the rough. We have something, a rose that blossoms in the middle of a dung pile. Yes, with Dante, that's true. With the Inferno, you do have a rose, but it's not beautiful because it's rare. It's beautiful because it's really well written. And it's written in the vernacular Italian. I'm sorry we don't speak Italian. I think it would be easier to understand its effectiveness, its awesomeness, if we could read the native Italian. But you had to trust your English translation a little bit, I guess. Just a wonderful, fantastic poem. A little long, and it's very, very interpretive. It's very, very much of Dante. He puts himself into his poem in every line. It's tightly constructed and highly imaginative. Dante is the one who teaches us that God is a living and creative and active God, and that his creativity is born of his love, and it's just a fascinating examination of the afterlife. I think your PowerPoint calls it a privileged journey through the afterlife. It's privileged because Dante gets all his questions answered and he gets to come out the other side. But it is a fascinating journey, and I hope you enjoy getting there with me. So this week we're doing the Inferno, just cantos 1 through 4. Canto means book, and then 33 and 34. So really, you just get the opening and then the closing. You don't get any of the meat, which I'm sorry, but we just don't have time this semester. But read those and hope you enjoy them. And next week we're going to do summaries of Purgatory and Paradise. So we'll get through hell somehow. When you have questions, please feel free to drop me an email, and I'll be happy to answer it and get back to you as quickly as I can. Thanks. Good luck.